and welcome to Base Camp. I'm Pastor Pat. Have you ever done anything bad? I mean, bad. So bad that you thought that you were in trouble for life. So bad that you thought God probably didn't even like you anymore. So bad that you thought there was no way you could ever be forgiven. Is it just me? Sometimes we do things that seem and may be absolutely terrible. We're embarrassed, ashamed, and maybe even think that there's no way we'll ever be right and good again. We've given in to temptation, and now we are ruined forever. The Bible opens with a story of a couple of people just like that. They did something that we're still feeling the consequences for to this day. I bet Satan was pretty proud of himself when he tempted them into that severe of disobedience to God. I can just picture the demon pitching him the idea in the first place. So, you have a new plan for me. Yes, Satan, I do. It's tempting. Wonderful. I really want to hear it. Tempting. It sure is. Yeah. So, are you going to tell it to me? It's tempting. I already admitted that, so why don't you tell me what it is? I did. Did what? Told you what it is. When I told you to tell me what it is, you told me it was tempting. Right, and I was excited to do it. I really wanted to do it. That's tempting. Sure is. So, what is it? What is what? Your new idea. It's tempting. Then why don't you just give in and do it? Because I already did. Wait, are we doing a bad Who's on First parody? I think maybe we are. Wow. All right, so let's start over. You have a new plan for me. Yes, Satan, I do. Let me guess, it involves tempting. It sure does, sir. We could have saved a lot of time if you had just said that in the beginning. I thought I did. Whoops. Whoopsies. So who's being tempted this time? All of humanity. All of humanity? That's a lot of people to tempt all at one time. It's surprisingly few, actually. Like, only 2. Only 2? Yep. We're going to tempt the first 2 people ever made. That way, we can stain all people going forward with sin and consequences. Oh, corrupting billions of people before they've been born is tight. It sure is, sir. So, who are these people? It's a man named Adam and his wife Eve. They were just created and are totally good. But we're going to change that. We're going to change that. Works for me. So what are we going to tempt them with? They've been placed in this paradise of a garden called Eden, and in the middle of that garden is a tree that grants whoever eats of it the knowledge of good and evil. So are we going to plant weeds in the garden? Even better, we're going to destroy the whole thing. Oh, very excessive. I like where this is going. Adam and Eve were told that they could eat the fruit from any tree, but not the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So what's an any tree look like? What? You said they could eat the fruit of the any tree. No, they could eat fruit from any tree, all of the trees, except the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Oh, well, that makes sense. Right. So you're going to sneak into the garden and convince them to eat the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. That's the tree they were told not to eat from. Exactly. That would be a sin. Yes, it would, sir. Excellent. But how am I going to get them to do that? Convincing them to listen to me is going to be extremely difficult. Actually, it's going to be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, you'll simply disguise yourself as a talking animal. That's a great idea. People love animals, especially cute and cuddly ones. I could be a puppy or a kitten, a snake. What? You'll be a snake. Everybody trusts snakes. Do they though? Have you ever heard of anyone not trusting a talking snake? I've never heard of anyone having any experience with a talking snake. Well, there you go. Hard to argue with that. You'll slither up to Eve and say, did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden? But that's not what he said. No, it's not. But when she calls you on it, you can just shrug it off as an innocent question. Snakes don't have arms or shoulders. Can they really shrug? Can they really talk? Good point. If she's willing to accept a talking snake, she'll be willing to accept a shrugging one. Besides, this will begin to sow doubt into her mind about what God has told her. Oh, very sneaky. Or should I say, snaky. Nice one, sir. And now, you move in for the kill, both figuratively and literally. Ooh, killing is one of the three things I come for: to steal and kill and destroy. And you're going to do all three with your next line. She'll tell you that God said that if she eats the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, she'll die. But then you'll tell her, you will not certainly die, for God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. But that's not the truth. It's called a lie, sir, and it's the first one ever told, so you can be the father of lies. Oh, good. I've always wanted to be a dad. I'm so proud. Congratulations. Will she believe me? She will. And she'll give some to Adam, and they'll both eat it. Ha! So I'll steal away God's favorite creation from him. They'll die, and I'll destroy the Garden of Eden. Busy day for me. You'll check everything off of your to-do list, sir. Good for me, or should I say, evil for me. I'm guessing God won't be very happy about it. What happens when he confronts him about eating the fruit? Adam blames his wife and even blames God a little bit for giving her to him. Ooh, double mistake. Hope he likes the doghouse because he's gonna be in it. Eve blames you. What you gonna do? Right? And now God has no choice but to kick them out of the garden, and they're now mortal and will die. Not to mention some other not so great things like pain in childbirth and thorns in fields and mosquitoes. What? I'm pretty sure mosquitoes are a result of this. God doesn't specifically say that, but I guess that's possible. That's what I'm going with. Fantastic. Any consequences for me for my part in this? God will put enmity between you and Eve's offspring. What's enmity mean? Hostility or fighting. You'll strike his heel. I can live with that. And he'll crush your head. Wait, what? Let's keep our eyes on the prize here. The important thing is people will die. The consequences for people is death, and there's no way God can do anything about it. His favorite creation, people, is destroyed forever, before the world even has a chance to get going.
Christ, a lamb without blemish or defect, he was chosen before the creation of the world. Through him you believe in God, who raised him from the dead and glorified him, and so your faith and hope are in God, the Lamb who was slain from the creation of the world.
When Adam and Eve listened to the snake and chose to disobey God, it was pretty bad, as in pretty much the worst thing ever done. It introduced sin and death into the world. Not only did they suffer for it, but so has every single person who has ever been born. Yeah, that's bad. But here's the deal. It didn't catch God off guard. He knew it was coming and already had a plan for it. We see that in Genesis chapter 3 when God tells Satan that a descendant of Eve will be struck by him, but that he will crush Satan's head. That's Jesus. And we find out in 1 Peter and Revelation that this was God's plan from the very beginning of creation. 1 Peter 1:20 says that Jesus was chosen even before the creation of the world. And Revelation chapter 13 verse 8 says he was slain for our sins from the very beginning of the creation of the world. God knew people would choose to sin, and he had a plan to deal with it, even before we did it, even before we were created. There were still some really serious consequences for Adam and Eve's sin, but the most severe, separation from God forever in eternal death, God removed. There are times when we all do things that are wrong, even really wrong. But it doesn't mean that God stops loving us or that we're done. He created you knowing that you would someday do the things that you've done. But He loved you so much that He made you anyway, even knowing that you would hurt Him with your sin. He loved you so much that He made a way to pay for that sin before you were even born. Jesus. That's some pretty serious love and some pretty serious hope for all of us. If you've committed a sin that makes you wonder if God still loves you, know that He does. In fact, He always knew you'd do it and has already made the way to set you free from it. All you have to do is accept it. Simply confess your sin to Him and ask Jesus to forgive you for it, knowing that He paid your price for it when He died on the cross and rose again. As Romans chapter 8 says, nothing can separate us from the love of Christ. You are loved, no matter what. Thanks for joining us today for Base Camp, a ministry of Summit Church in beautiful Bozeman, Montana. If you're in the area, we'd love for you to join us for services. We meet every Sunday during the summer at 9:30 and the rest of the year at 9:15 and 11 o'clock. If you can't make those, keep tuning in online. Our website is summitchurchmt.com and we're on Facebook and YouTube at Summit Church MT. Our kids Facebook ministry page is Base Camp Kids Min. When watching our videos, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share them so that others can experience them too. I'm Pastor Pat. Remember, no matter what you've done, you haven't taken God by surprise. He still loves you, and He's already planned for this. Let His love forgive, restore, and surround you. Bye!